Chapter 7 Fizz Bombs and Lemon Drops. Simon's ears pricked up as he heard the faint rustle of paper. "Is that the sound of sweets I hear?" he asked Dippy. It might be." "Well, give us one then, dude." Are you sure?" "What do you mean, am I sure?" "Of course I'm sure." "I mean, could you handle them?" Simon thought the question was very strange, and it also aroused the other boys' curiosity. "What do you mean, could we handle them? Just what have you got there, Dippy?" asked Harry. Just fizz bombs and lemon drops," answered Dippy, but stuttering a little more than usual. "Hey, I love fizz bombs and lemon drops. Pass them round then, and don't be a tight git," ordered Harry. But Dippy was still reluctant and just sat there. "Come on, Dippy, lad, be generous," added Jensen. Dippy was still hesitant, but not for that reason. "I'm not tight, I am generous. It's just that they're a bit, Jensen interrupted him. "Come on, Dippy, hand them round, will ya, and stop making excuses." And they all joined in and spoke at the same time. "Yeah, come on, be generous, dude." "Yeah, come on, hand them round, Dippy lad." "Give us a sweet, you tight git." So eventually, Dippy relented. Okay, if you're all sure." "Hey, Dippy man, I think we can handle a fizz bomb and a lemon drop," said Simon. Dippy was shocked at the very notion and issued a serious warning. No, never have them together. It wouldn't end well. Trust me," he said in a very serious tone. Then the boys started laughing. "I don't think they're going to harm us, will they?" said Jensen mockingly. Well, no, they probably won't harm you." But Dippy gave them one final warning anyway. "All right then, one of each, but be careful, and remember, I'm not responsible." The boys all grabbed one of each sweet from the paper sweetie bag and sat a short distance away from Dippy to have a little discussion about the matter. "He obviously doesn't get sweets very often, does he?" said Harry. "Yeah, he was a bit precious with them, wasn't he?" agreed Jensen. "Tight, if you ask me, man," said Simon as he popped one of each sweet into his mouth. "Yeah, maybe that's just it," said Harry as he also popped one of each sweet into his mouth. Jensen watched closely to see if anything odd would happen to Harry and Simon. Maybe the sweets were off, or poisoned, or something. But obviously they weren't, as nothing strange occurred, so assuming it was safe, he too popped the sweets into his mouth. So they sat there and sucked away on the sweets. They actually were quite refreshing. The sugar was really hitting the spot. Now the day just didn't seem that hot, as the sweet seemed to be actually cooling them down. Simon smiled and looked at the other boys. Jensen and Harry smiled back, until a hideously bitter taste overpowered Harry and Simon's taste buds, but only for a few seconds, because an instant later, it wasn't that bad. It was actually hideously good, if there was such a thing. Bittersweet couldn't describe them adequately. They were just too far off the scale. Just as Harry was trying to decipher the taste, at that exact moment, he had a great idea. "Does anybody want to sing a song?" he asked. "What? Have you gone mad, Harry?" asked Jensen, who was still on the sweet tasting stage. But Simon, who had been the first to suck, had already felt a tremendous rush of energy, and he had to stand up immediately, as singing seemed to be the only answer. Harry also literally leapt up and prepared himself for, well, he didn't know what. but he was prepared all right. The hideously bitter taste, then the off-the-scale bittersweet sensation swamped Jensen's taste buds. He too felt a sudden surge of energy reach his legs. So, instead of just sitting there wiggling them, he had to stand up. And then it began. Harry had always liked the Bay City Rollers, but had never dared tell anybody, as he probably would have been ridiculed. His absolute favourite was Bye Bye Baby, so he thrust his hand high into the air in a very dramatic fashion and positioned himself ready to sing the song. He started slowly at first with the talking part, or rap as they call it nowadays. If you hate me after what I say, can't put it off any longer. I just gotta tell you anyway. He wasn't quite in tune, but that just didn't matter. Simon then held up his hand in equally dramatic fashion. He'd also secretly liked the Bay City Rollers, in fact, so secretly that even he didn't know it. But the chorus was coming up, and Harry needed some backing vocals. So he joined in the singing, and they sung as though their lives depended on it. Bye bye baby, baby goodbye. Bye bye baby, don't make me cry. Jensen, who was still a few seconds behind Harry and Simon, was now utterly bewildered. He'd always hated the Bay City Rollers. He just didn't get the bubblegum pop music lyrics or the silly tartan outfits. He was more into glam rock with bands such as Sweet. The Ballroom Blitz was his absolute favourite. But as the seconds ticked by and the bittersweet taste exploded on his taste buds, he had to admit that this particular Bay City Rollers song was definitely their best. And now he came to think of it, it was without doubt probably the best piece of music that was ever written. So he thrust his hand into the air and decided to do the right thing and sing the second verse solo. And he was actually pretty good. You're the one girl in town I'd marry. Girl, I'd marry you now if I were free. I wish it could be. I could love you, but why begin it? 'Cause there ain't any future in it. She's got me and I'm not free, so... Jensen acted out each lyric. He just had to. They were so mind-blowingly awe-inspiring. Everybody had to know about this song right now. So the boys linked arms and skipped off to find an audience. And as they skipped, they all sang the second chorus together. Bye bye baby, baby goodbye. Bye bye baby, don't make me cry. Baby, bye 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 baby, baby, bye bye baby. Bye 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 baby, baby, bye bye. Dippy watched them sing, clap and skip into the distance. I tried to warn them, never mix these sweets. But what can you do? That's friends for you, he said proudly. His special fizz bombs and lemon drops were bad enough on their own, but together they were potent. And he knew that he could never stop them now. He just hoped that they wouldn't remember too much afterwards. Several minutes later, the boys had found a very appreciative audience, at the local cooperative supermarket. They sang, danced, and entertained up every aisle, especially Simon, who was very much enjoying the time out from being so usually cool. He was high-kicking, spinning, and pirouetting like a ballet dancer. He was simply the best. Now everybody knew how great the Bay City Rollers were. Alan Longmuir, Derek Longmuir, Eric Faulkner, Stuart Woody Wood, and of course the legend that was Les McCowan. So another chorus was called for by the captive audience. Or maybe not, but who cared? Because they were getting it anyway. So, like a very broken record, off they went again. Bye bye baby, baby goodbye. Bye bye baby, don't make me cry. But at the end of that lyric, Harry's voice began to fade. He looked around and reality hit him with a jolt. He was in the supermarket and everybody there seemed to be laughing at him. It was like a bad dream. So he thought he'd better stop singing, just in case it wasn't a dream. He looked down to see if he still had his trousers on, and he did, which was a good thing, but also a bad thing, because that meant that this definitely wasn't a dream, as he always seemed to lose his trousers in his dreams. So he stood in the aisle with a confused look on his face and watched the spectacle of Simon and Jensen singing, for whatever reason, a Bay City Rollers song. Bye bye baby, don't make me cry. Bye bye baby. At the end of the chorus, Simon also stopped singing. He too was in the supermarket, and he didn't know why. He spotted Harry, and with all the attention now on Jensen, Simon and Harry skulked away and left him singing and dancing on his own. It was the right thing to do. They stepped out into the hot afternoon air, and immediately they began to shake, and sweat dripped off them. "What the hell just happened?" asked Harry. "I don't know, man, but I'm sure as hell gonna find out." "What about Jensen?" "Oh, don't worry about him, dude. I reckon he's gonna be out here any second," said Simon, hearing that the singing was now subsiding. And sure enough, Jensen walked out of the supermarket, dazed and embarrassed, but with applause still ringing in his ears. "Why am I here?" he asked. "We're not quite sure, dude, but we sure as hell are gonna find out," answered Simon. And off they went to find Dippy. A few minutes later, there he was, exactly where they'd left him. He knew what was coming, but he had an explanation prepared. "Hi, lads," he said, sheepishly. "Well, Dippy, what the bloody hell was that all about?" asked Jensen, standing over him and blocking out the sun. "Look, lads, just sit down, and I'll tell you." The boys were extremely tired, and sitting down was a good idea. The fizz bombs and lemon drops that you had, well, they weren't exactly ordinary fizz bombs and lemon drops." "You don't say," said Harry, sarcastically. "Let him finish, dude," interrupted Simon, more than a little intrigued. So Dippy continued. "They were my special secret recipe, fizz bombs and lemon drops." "Special secret recipe? I like your style, Dippy dude. In fact, I think I like it a lot." Dippy smiled, because he knew that this was it. For the first time ever, he actually had friends that were genuinely interested in him. It was an indescribable feeling that was beyond euphoria. He grinned again and waited for the inevitable question, and it was Harry who asked what they all wanted the answer to. "What the hell was in them, Dippy?" And then Dippy gave them the recipe, but not quite all of it, because if he did, his new best friends probably wouldn't be his friends for much longer. So this is all he revealed for now. First he bought extra large fizz bombs and lemon drops, the largest that money could buy. He cut them in half and removed the insides, and then added his specially mixed 3 spoons of extra strong high caffeine coffee, covered with extra sugary syrup to disguise the bitter taste. The original filling that had been taken out was mixed with yet more syrup and sherbet dip for that extra kick. The mixture was compressed as tight as it would go and squeezed back into the centre of the sweets. The 2 halves of the sweet were then fitted back together and glued into place with more syrup. But he missed out the crucial secret ingredient. So crucial and so secret that Dippy would never divulge it. At least not yet, as Harry would discover much later what that ingredient was, but under very different circumstances. The sweets were then placed in the fridge to set, and after a few hours they were ready to eat. And then, and all at the exact same time, Harry, Jensen and Simon knew what this meant. Their new business was born.